He was a homosexual. He was gay. He wasn't gay, but he had to pretend to be. And that was the whole premise of Three's Company. Here's what Clyde Bearden said. He said, the devil knows that if they can get us to laugh at it now, we're only one generation away from being asked to accept it as a purely alternative lifestyle.
Okay, so let me get this straight, Mark. Satan was an ABC development executive in the 1970s, and Three's Company, a show with no actual gay characters in it, was his project to destroy America. Are you absolutely sure it wasn't a show about a glamorous nautical fuck palace, or the one about an illegal immigrant made entirely out of cocaine? Are you sure about that? Now, people soon began questioning Harris's victory, particularly given his disproportionate share of the mail-in absentee vote in Bladen County. And when authorities looked back at his primary, things got even more suspicious, because in that same county, he received 437 mail-in absentee votes, while his opponent, Robert Pittenger, who happened to be the three-term incumbent, got just 17. And that is a red flag. The only way that would make sense is if Pittenger's campaign slogan was, Pittenger 2018, fuck Bladen County. And as the suspicions grew, Harris's behaviour did not exactly dispel them.
North Carolina congressional candidate Mark Harris chose to not speak to reporters tonight after a GOP meeting next door to the city council meeting, but the way he made his exit had the whole building buzzing. Harris set off the fire alarm on his way out a back door and to his car.
You can see Mark Harris running across the street toward his car, taking off his jacket and eventually driving away.
Holy shit! It's like watching the Beatles dart through a backstage exit to outrun screaming fans, except instead of the Ed Sullivan Show, it's the Charlotte Mecklenburg Government Centre, and instead of lovesick teenagers, it's WBTV's David Hodges, and instead of the Beatles, it's a 52-year-old Baptist minister named Mark, the equivalent of 4 Ringos. Now, suspicions soon centred around a consultant that Harris had hired, Leslie McCrae Dowless, veteran political operative and suburban Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he had previously admitted, under oath, that he had paid workers to collect absentee ballots from voters in 2016, which is a felony there. Now, Harris claimed that he had no idea Dowless might be a problem, but this week, in a hearing with the State Election Board, Harris's own son testified that he'd repeatedly and explicitly warned his father.
Heard about this McCrae guy, you know, it seems to me like it may be kind of a shady character. I expressed my concerns based on everything that I did know up to that point, namely my belief that McCrae had engaged in collecting ballots in 2016. I told him that collecting ballots was a felony.
I thought what he was doing was illegal, and I was right.
Wow. Most of us can only dream about saying I was right to our dads in an official setting. This guy just lived that dream. I only wish he'd gone for broke and brought up every other instance of his dad being wrong. And I was right about the garage door opener, and I was right about the turnpike being the fastest way to get to the movie theatre, and I was the one that knew that birds weren't mammals. They're birds, Dad. Birds is its own thing. I fucking knew birds was its own thing, and you didn't, Dad. Birds are birds, Dad. Birds are birds. And when asked why he'd ignored all of his son's warnings, Mark Harris's pushback was not impressive.
I'm his dad, and I know he's a little judgmental and has a little taste of arrogance.
Oh, excuse me? A taste of arrogance? That is an incredibly obnoxious thing to say about your own son, but a perfect name for a restaurant owned by Alec Baldwin. It's quite an experience. The waiter screams the menu at you and then punches you in the face. You really must go. And as all this evidence piled up, what was meant to be a one-day hearing dragged into 4, and things got worse and worse for Harris. In fact, on Thursday, his own lawyer interrupted his testimony to ask for a recess, after which Harris did a complete U-turn, claiming recent health problems had impacted his ability to recall events accurately, and saying this.
It's become clear to me that the public's confidence in the 9th District seat general election has been undermined to an extent that a new election is warranted.
And that is the verbal equivalent of running out an emergency exit and setting off a fire alarm. And I would love to keep making fun of this story, but as Harris himself will tell you, the danger is, if they can get us to laugh at it now, we're just one generation away from being asked to accept committing election fraud as a purely alternative lifestyle. And now, this.